మార్ఫాలజీ. అందులో మొదటిది రూట్ టాపిక్. యాక్చువల్లీ రూట్ సిస్టమ్ embryonic axis. This embryonic axis, it shows two buds. Lower side it is called radical, upper side it is called plumule. So embryonic axis develops two buds, radical and a plumule. Radical and a plumule. So what is radical means? So radical gives root system. So radical is called embryonic root. So root system is developed from radical. So radical is called embryonic root. Now types of root system. There are three types of root system: taproot, fibrous root and adventitious root. So first one is taproot. What is taproot means? This is a radical. Actually radical develops into main root. Radical develops into main root. That main root is called taproot. Generally growth of this taproot towards soil, so it is called positive geotropism. This tap or main root, they gives lateral roots. Tap or main root, it gives lateral roots. Then arrangement of lateral roots, acropetal in succession. Acropetal in succession means younger roots formed at apex, older root forms at base. Such an arrangement is called acropetalis. So once again, types of root system, three types: taproot, fibrous root system and adventitious. Then first one, taproot system. Taproot system is a radical. It develops into main root. That main root is called taproot. Then this root, it grow towards soil. That is called a positive geotropism. Then this taproot or main root, it gives lateral roots, and arrangement of lateral roots is an acropetal succession. Means younger roots formed at apex and older roots formed at base. Such arrangement is called acropetal succession. Then this primary, it gives secondary roots. Then these secondary roots, it gives tertiary roots or rootlets. Secondary or tertiary roots which gives rootlets. Here all types of roots means primary or secondary or tertiary roots, they produce unicellular outgrowths. Such unicellular outgrowths are called root hairs, and such root system is called taproot system. This taproot system is found in dicots and also gymnosperms, but never in monocots. So this is taproot system. And second type, fibrous root system. In a fibrous root system also, radical develops into main root even in fibrous root system, but that main or taproot soonly disappear or disintegrates, and instead of that many secondary roots are developed from base of the stem, and all these roots are small like a fibers, hence it is called a fibrous root system. So point, fibrous root system in which radical develops into main root but soonly disintegrates. So many secondary roots are developed from base of the stem, and all these roots are small like a fibers, hence it is called fibrous root system. It is common in grasses. Third type is adventitious. It is nothing but fibrous. Adventitious, nothing but fibrous. But definition for adventitious: if root system is developed from any part of the plant other than radical, any part of the plant other than radical is called adventitious. So fibrous root system is nothing but adventitious, and point is all these adventitious roots generally found in monocots and also in some dicots. It means taproot system found in dicots and gymnosperms, fibrous root system in grasses, adventitious root system found in dicots, monocots, even pteridophytes. So these are types of root system. Parts of root. Root tip. Root tip is surrounded by protective layer. This protective layer is called root cap. Root cap is developed from meristem. That meristem is called calyptrocian. Function of root cap: this root cap protects root tip. Root cap is generally absent in hydrophytes. In some hydrophytes, root cap is replaced by root pockets, and hydrophytes with the root pockets present in Pistia and Eichhornia. Then above the root cap, it is called meristematic zone. Above the root cap is called meristematic zone. Here all young cells called meristems present. Meristems. Then they undergo division. Above the meristems, it is called elongation zone. Here cell elongation takes place. So length of root is increased. Above the elongation, it is called maturation zone. In maturation zone, cell differentiation takes place and plant pods are formed. Within maturation zone, epidermal cells gives unicellular outgrowths. Such unicellular outgrowths are called root hairs. Function of root hairs: they absorb capillary water by osmosis. Normal function of roots: fixation, then absorption of water and minerals. But in some plants, to perform additional functions, roots get modified. Different types of root modifications. One is under this first one, storage roots. Storage roots means in some plants, roots they store food. Due to storage of food, roots become fleshy. Such roots are called tuberous roots or storage roots. Generally, storage roots are common in the biennials. These are called root crops. Biennials, root crops. Biennials means lifespan is 2 years. First year they shows vegetative growth, and the second year they shows reproductive growth. And during reproduction they used that stored food. Hence, harvesting roots at the end of second year is not advantageous. Harvesting roots at the end of first year only advantageous. Point is, they are both tap roots and also adventitious roots. Both roots help in storing food. It means called tuberous tap roots and also tuberous adventitious roots. Based on shape, tuberous tap roots are divided into 3 types. Among 3 types, one is fusiform. Fusiform means spindle shaped. Example for spindle shaped, radish. Then second one, napiform. Napiform means top shaped. Napiform or a top shaped. Example for napiform or top shaped, beetroot. Then one more, turnip. Third type, it is called conical. Conical. Example is carrot, or that scientific name is Ďákus carota. Second one, adventitious roots. Even adventitious roots store food in some plants. Example for this, asparagus. Actually, in asparagus, these adventitious roots produced in bunch or a group. Bunch or group is called fascicle. Hence, it is called fasciculated roots. Next modification, epiphytic or velamin roots. Epiphytes. Epiphytes means plants which depends on other plants only for shelter are called epiphytes. Actually, epiphytes, they grow on branches of other trees. And epiphytes, it contains 2 types of root system. Epiphytes contains 2 types of root system. In this, some roots are small and help in fixation. Such roots are called clinging roots. And some roots, some adventitious roots, they are long and freely hang in air. Such roots are called velamin roots. Actually, velamin roots, in velamin roots, root epidermis is multi-layered, dead, hygroscopic, and acts like blotting paper. Such tissues called velamin tissue. And this velamin tissue absorb moisture from air. So epiphytes means they have leaves. Leaves contains chloroplast, and velamin roots, they absorb moisture from air, and leaves, they absorb carbon dioxide from air. So they are autotrophic, or they can perform their own photosynthesis. They do not take food or minerals or water from the host. So it is not a parasite, and it is a epiphyte. It take only shelter from the host, and most of the epiphytes belonging to family Orchidaceae. Example for these velamin roots, Vanda. And next modification, nodular roots. Nodular roots. These nodular roots common in pulses. These pulses belonging to family Fabaceae. Generally, atmosphere contains more nitrogen, 78% of nitrogen, but plant cannot fix that atmospheric nitrogen, because in plants nitrogen fixing enzyme called nitrogenase is absent. This nitrogenase enzyme, it is present in some prokaryotes, not all, some prokaryotes like rhizobium bacteria and some cyanobacteria like Anabaena and nostoc. These microbes contains nitrogenase enzyme. So these microbes can fix atmospheric nitrogen directly. Here nodular roots means this, it is taproot modification. Nodular root is taproot modification, and these taproots, they produce small outgrowths. These small outgrowths are called nodules. Inside nodule, rhizobium bacterium is present. This rhizobium has nitrogenase enzyme. This nitrogenase can fix that atmospheric nitrogen in the form of ammonia. Then this bacteria supplies that ammonia to plant. For this, plant provide that food materials to that bacteria, rhizobium. In this way, both organisms get benefited. Such condition is called a symbiosis. Right? Example for symbiosis, nodular roots, groundnut. Scientific name of groundnut is Arachis. Parasites means parasitic plants. Depends on other plants for food, water, minerals, even sometimes shelter, called parasites. And a plant which provide all these things to that parasite is called host. Then parasitic plant, it produce modified adventitious root. Parasitic plant produce modified adventitious root. That modified adventitious root is called parasitic root. In some plants, this parasitic root is connected with host stem. If it is connected with host stem, it is called stem parasite. If it is connected with host root, it is called root parasite. In that way, parasitic plants, two types, stem parasite and a root parasite. Then some parasites, they are leafless. Some parasites are leafless. Such parasites, they depends on the host for food, water and minerals, called complete parasites. Some parasites, they contains leaves. If leaves present, they depends on host only for water and minerals, called partial parasites. Generally, xylem help in conduction of water and minerals. Phloem help in conduction of food. In a complete parasite, that a parasitic root or haustoria connected with both xylem and phloem, it absorbs food from phloem, water and minerals from xylem. In partial parasite, haustoria connected with only host xylem and it absorbs water and minerals from xylem. So totally parasites 4 types. Complete stem parasite. Example for complete stem parasite, Cuscuta. Second one, partial stem parasite. Example for partial stem parasite, Loranthus and Viscum. Third one, complete root parasite. Complete root parasite. Example, Rafflesia. Then partial root parasite. Example for partial root parasite is a Striga. Here Rafflesia, it is complete root parasite and it produces largest flower. Parasitic roots. So actually xylem, vascular bundles in roots. Vascular bundles in root are called radial. Radial means xylem and phloem separate and present on different radius. If xylem and phloem present on different radius, called radial vascular bundles found in roots. And in roots, xylem is exarch. Exarch means protoxylem towards outside and metaxylem towards inside. Such condition is called exarch. So finally, roots, vascular bundles are radial and exarch. Stems, in stems vascular bundles are collateral. Collateral means xylem and phloem side by side. If xylem and phloem side by side, such vascular bundles are called collateral vascular bundles. So in parasitic roots, haustoria connected with radial vascular bundles. In a parasitic root, if haustoria connected with radial vascular bundles, that is called complete root parasite. And in vascular bundle, and if haustoria connected with only exarch xylem, that is said to be partial root parasite. And if parasitic root is connected with collateral vascular bundles, parasitic root is connected with collateral vascular bundles, that is called complete stem parasite. And if haustoria connected with only endarch xylem, it is called partial stem parasite. Mechanical roots. What are these mechanical roots? One is prop roots and second one stilt roots. Prop roots and stilt roots. So first one, prop roots. These prop roots are common. Prop roots are common in a big trees. Big trees like a ficus, banyan tree. In banyan tree, that branches, they grow horizontally. They grow horizontally. If no support, that branches will fall off. That is why some of the branches, they produce adventitious roots. These adventitious roots grow towards soil and they provide additional support to branches. Such roots are called prop roots. Example, ficus, banyan tree. And next modification, mechanical root, stilt roots. These are stilt roots, means they develop from stilt roots. They develop from lower nodes of the stem. Stilt roots, they develop from lower nodes of the stem and provide additional support called as stilt roots. Example for stilt roots, sugarcane and maize. Next modification, respiratory roots. So respiratory roots, also called breathing roots. Respiratory or breathing roots. Normally, these respiratory roots common in mangroves. These are common in mangroves. Mangroves means they grow in seashore areas. Seashore areas means waterlogged conditions. So due to waterlogged conditions, that the roots cannot respire. Because of waterlogged conditions, roots cannot respire. So some of the roots, they produces branches. These branches, they grow towards light and their tips contains small pores. These small pores are called lenticels or nematodes. Through these lenticels or nematodes, that respiration takes place. So these are called respiratory roots, common in mangroves. Example for respiratory roots, Avicennia and Rhizophora. These are respiratory roots. And next modification, photosynthetic roots. Photosynthetic roots means actually roots are underground. Underground means light does not penetrate. So roots non-green in color. But in some plants, that the roots become aerial, above the ground. So these roots become green and they perform photosynthesis. Such roots are called photosynthetic roots or assimilatory roots. Photosynthetic or assimilator roots. Example for photosynthetic roots or assimilator roots is a Taeniophyllum. Example is Taeniophyllum. Actually, Taeniophyllum is epiphytic plant. Taeniophyllum is epiphytic plant in which shoot system is reduced and a plant body is represented by velamin roots. This velamin roots contains that a chloroplast. Velamin roots contains chloroplast. That too particularly in cortex, because epidermis is dead tissue. So inside cortex chloroplast is present and this chloroplast perform photosynthesis, and such roots are called photosynthetic roots. Next topic, stem. So shoot system. Shoot system is developed from plumule. Shoot system developed from plumule, and the shoot system contains axis. This axis is called the stem. So మామూలుగా ప్లూమ్యూల్ స్టెమ్ అంటే కాండాన్ని ఇస్తుంది. షూట్ సిస్టమ్ contains axis called a stem. Stem shows characters of stem. Stem యొక్క లక్షణాలు. Stem shows nodes and space in between nodes is called internodes. కాండం పైన కనుపు మరియు కనుపు నడుములు ఉంటాయి. These nodes, generally nodes develops leaves. ఈ కనుపు నుండి పత్రాలు ఏర్పడతాయి. Then the stem contains buds. One is apical bud and the second one is called axillary bud. Stem మీద మామూలుగా బడ్ ఉంటాయి. ఒకటేమో కాండం మీద, ఇంకొకటి పత్రం మధ్యలో అంటే తప్పు అవుతుంది మళ్ళీ కట్. సో there are two buds, apical bud and axillary bud. Apical bud, it is increases length of stem, and axillary bud, it gives branches. Axillary bud gives branches. Even branches contains nodes. All these together called shoot system. And the main function of shoot, it receives water and minerals from root, supplies water and minerals from base to top. Second one, it exposes leaves to light for photosynthesis. And third one, it exposes flowers to pollination. These are common functions of stem. But in some plants, to perform additional functions, that a part of stem is modified either temporarily or permanently, rightly called stem modifications. There are three types of stem modification. Under this first one, underground stem modifications. Underground stem modifications. These underground stem modifications, they perform many functions. Like one is storage, and second one vegetative reproduction, and third one increase in pollination. So it performs many functions, hence it is called multi-purpose stem modifications. Multi-purpose stem modifications are of four types. Under these four, first one is rhizome. Rhizome means it to grow horizontally below the ground. So rhizome character, it grows horizontally below the ground. Then from lower side, it develops adventitious roots. Upper side, it develops aerial shoot. At each node, scale leaves present. At each node, scale leaves present. And axillary buds gives rise to branches. These branches perform two functions along with storage and also help in vegetative reproduction. Example for rhizome: musa, canna indica, turmeric and ginger. Second type of modification is called a comb. Second type of underground stem modification is called a comb. This comb means it grows vertically into the soil. Comb grows vertically into the soil. Then comb shows nodes and also internodes. Then generally it has large apical bud. This apical bud gives rise to aerial shoot. Then axillary buds, they gives rise to daughter combs. Example for comb: colocasia and 𝗪𝗵𝗪𝗪𝗪. Common name for 𝗪𝗵𝗪𝗪. So 𝗳𝗏𝗏 is a stem tuber. Stem tuber means actually branches. Stem tuber branches develop from the base of the stem. Branches develop from the base of the stem. They grow into the soil and the tips store food, rightly called stem tuber. The structure of stem tuber: the stem tuber is covered by a dead layer. Rightly, this dead layer is called cork, or it is called periderm. Dead layer, it is called a cork or periderm. This cork contains numerous eyes. Cork contains eyes. These eyes represent nodes. Actually, each eye contains scar called a scale leaf and also axillary bud. And these eyes help in vegetative reproduction. Example for stem tuber is a potato. Scientific name is Solanum tuberosum, and reserve food is starch. So actually, leucoplast storing starch is called amyloplast. So amyloplast is present in stem tuber of potato. Bulb is highly reduced underground stem. This bulb, in bulb, stem does not store food. It is highly reduced disc-like stem. From lower side of stem, adventitious roots are formed, and stem does not store food. Generally, leaf bases become fleshy, and a leaf bases store food, and all these fleshy leaf bases are surrounded by dry membranous layer. Such a dry membranous layer is called a tunic. Hence, such bulb is called a tunicated bulb. Example, onion. Scientific name is Allium sativum. Aerial stem modifications. There are different types of aerial stem modifications. One is under this first one, tendrils, then thorns, then hooks, then phylloclade, then cladode, then bulbils. These are different types of stem modifications. So first one, tendrils. What are tendrils? Tendrils means leafless, coiled and delicate structures useful for climbing. Tendril is leafless, coiled and delicate structure, help in climbing, called tendrils. Example for tendrils, one is 𝗧𝗧 and second one is 𝗧𝗧. In 𝗧𝗧, example 𝗧𝗧 and 𝗧𝗧, tendrils. Second one, second modification, thorns. Thorns means actually, thorns are pointed, thorns are pointed and woody structure. Thorn is pointed, woody structure, useful for climbing and also protection. Example for thorns, one is bougainvillea and the second one is citrus. In both the bougainvillea and citrus, in both 𝗳𝗏𝗃 bud modified into thorns. Hooks means actually It is another type of aerial stem modification in hooks. Hooks means woody and recurved structures. Hooks are woody and recurved structures, useful only in climbing. Example for hooks: Hugonia and Hugonia, that axillary bud modified into hooks, Hugonia. And next modification is very important, it is 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓. 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓 are common in xerophytes. 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓 common in xerophytes. In xerophytes, to reduce transpiration, either leaves they reduce to spines or they reduce to scales. Why means? To reduce transpiration. Otherwise, if leaves are normal, total water is evaporated, so plants cannot survive. So, because they grow in deserts, so to reduce transpiration, that leaves are modified. Actually, what is the function of leaf? Function of leaf is photosynthesis. But here what happens? That leaves reduce to spines or scales. So leaf cannot perform photosynthesis. That is why that a stem is modified into leaf-like. So if stem is modified into leaf-like and perform photosynthesis, it is called 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓. So example for 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓 is Opentia. One is Opentia, second one Casuarina, and even Euphorbia. But here I am giving description for what means Opentia. In Opentia, that a 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓 is green and flattened. 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓 is green, flattened. That 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓 is fleshy, it stores water. Actually, leaves fall off. In Opentia, leaves fall off. There only axillary buds present. These axillary buds, they reduce to spines. So in Opentia, at each node, many spines or a cluster of spines are present. Cluster of spines, and along with spines, here small hairy structures present. These small hairy structures are called barbs, and actually spines and barbs are together called areole. It is about 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓. There is another modification called cladode. Cladode is variation of 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓. Cladode is variation of 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓. Means, like 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓, even cladode perform photosynthesis. But difference is, in 𝗲𝗏𝗪𝗓, stem shows unlimited growth. In cladode, that stem shows, cladode means stem shows limited growth. For this description, actually, asparagus. In asparagus, main stem is divided into nodes and internodes. This main stem produces branches. Main stem produces branches. This branches shows unlimited growth. On this these branches contains nodes. From these nodes again branches are formed, but these branches are green and shows limited growth. Only one or two internodal in length, and they become green and perform photosynthesis. Here neat point, Asparagus. Asparagus is xerophyte. In this, all three parts are modified, like a root. Root is fasciculated, stem is cladoed, and a leaf shows two modifications. One is spines and the second one scales. So next modification is bulbil. Bulbil means, actually, what is bulbil means? Bulbil is vegetative or a floral bud. Bulbil is vegetative or a floral bud. When it is present on plant, it stores food. When it is present on plant, it stores food. When it is detached and contact with soil, it gives rise to new plant. So, bulbil, it performs two functions, storage and also vegetative reproduction. Either vegetative bud modified into bulbil in some plants like Dioscorea, and a floral bud modified into bulbil in agave. Next one, subaerial stem modifications. So stem modifications, three types. One is aerial. Aerial means above the ground. Second one, underground stem modifications. Underground stem modification means below the ground. Third one, subaerial stem modifications. Subaerial stem modifications means half part is above the ground and half part is below the ground. So rightly it is called subaerial. Such modifications are called subaerial stem modifications. Main purpose of subaerial stem modifications, they participate in only vegetative reproduction. So subaerial stems are called reproductive stems, and even based on growth pattern or some other, the subaerial stem modifications are divided into four types. Among these, first one, runners. So first one is runners. Runner means, actually, it is a weak stem plant. Runner is weak stem plant. That a stem, it grows horizontally. Then this runner is weak stem plant, grows horizontally, and it is rooted at every node. It means every node it produces adventitious roots. So at node lower side, adventitious roots are formed. Then upper side, it develops branches, and these branches, they produce leaves. So if internodal portion is internal portion, if this internodal portion is cut, it shows independent life, and these are common in grasses. And example, oxalis. These are runners. Then second type of stem modification, subaerial, stolons. Second type of stem modification is stolons. Stolons means, stolons, when aerial stem, this aerial stem is contact with soil. So aerial stem, when aerial stem is contact with soil, it develops adventitious roots. After formation of adventitious roots, again this branch grow aerially and it produce leaves. And if that portion is cut, it shows independent life. So here point is, When branches contact with soil, it produces branches. That is why in horticulture, these branches are artificially bent. Such process is called layering, and this layering principle is associated with stolons. Example for stolons: one is nerium, then a jasmine, and a rose. Here, importance of nerium. Nerium is actually xerophyte. Xerophyte, it shows circular or 𝗪𝗏𝗨𝗃𝗃, and also inflorescence polycacial cyme. So, nerium, it is xerophyte, stem shows stolons, phyllotaxis is whorled or circular, and inflorescence polycacial cyme. ఈ సబేరియల్ స్టెమ్ మోడిఫికేషన్ అనేటివి శాఖీయోత్పత్తిలో ముఖ్యంగా వీటి యొక్క ముఖ్యమైన ఫంక్షన్ ఏంటంటే శాఖీయోత్పత్తిలో పాల్గొంటాయి. ఈ సబేరియల్ స్టెమ్స్ అనేటివి 4 రకాలు. అందులో ఒకటి మొదటి రన్నర్, తర్వాత స్టోలన్స్. సో రన్నర్ అంటే ఈ కాండం నేలకు సమాంతరంగా పెరుగుతుంది. లోపలి వైపు అడ్వెంటీషియస్ రూట్స్ను అబ్బురపు వేరు వ్యవస్థ అంటారు. లోపలి వైపు అబ్బురపు వేర్లను ఉత్పత్తి చేస్తుంది. అండ్ కాండం యొక్క పైన బ్రాంచెస్ అంటే శాఖలు ఏర్పడతాయి. ఆ శాఖలు పత్రాలను ఉత్పత్తి చేస్తాయి. ఒకవేళ ఏ కారణాల వలన ఈ శాఖ సపరేట్ అయితే, తల్లికన్ను నుండి సపరేట్ అయితే, ఈ సపరేట్ అయిన భాగము ఇండిపెండెంట్గా జీవిస్తుంది. దీన్నే రన్నర్లు అంటారు. స్టోలన్ అంటే ఈ శాఖలు ఎప్పుడైతే శాఖలు నేలను తాకుతాయో ఆ నేలను తాకినప్పుడు అవి అబ్రఫ్ వేర్లను ఉత్పత్తి చేస్తాయి. అబ్రఫ్ వేర్లు వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఆ శాఖ మళ్ళీ పైకి పెరిగి ఆ శాఖ పత్రాలను ఉత్పత్తి చేస్తుంది. మళ్ళీ ఏ కారణాల చేతనైనా ఆ శాఖ సపరేట్ అవుతే అది ఇండిపెండెంట్ లైఫ్ను చూపెడుతుంది. వాటిని స్టోలన్ అంటారు. ఈ స్టోలన్లకు ఉదాహరణ ఒకటి నీరియం, గన్నేరు అంటారు, నిద్ర గన్నేరు, నీరియం. తర్వాత రోజా. థర్డ్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ మోడిఫికేషన్ సక్కర్స్. థర్డ్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ సబేరియల్ స్టెమ్ మోడిఫికేషన్ సక్కర్స్. This main axis, then a lateral branch develop from base of the stem just below the ground but obliquely upwards, and before coming out of the soil, it produce adventitious roots. After coming out, it develops leaves. If this portion is cut, it shows independent life. Example for suckers: chrysanthemum. Then fourth modification, last modification, offsets. Last one is offsets. Generally, offsets are common in hydrophytes. What is offset? Offset means in this stem is reduced to disc-like actually. Offset stem is reduced to disc-like. And this disc-like stem contains many axillary buds. Each axillary bud develops into branch. But that branch is of limited growth. And lower side of the branch, it develops adventitious roots. Lower side of the branch develops adventitious roots. And upper side of the branch, it develops leaves. Upper side of branch develops leaves. And if that branch is separated from main plant, The branch is separated from main plant. It shows independent life called offsets. Example for offsets: Pistia and 𝗖𝗃𝗍. Pistia, common name is water lettuce. 𝗖𝗃𝗍, common name is water hyacinth. Here Pistia and 𝗖𝗃𝗍, both are free floating hydrophytes. Sometimes because of water currents, that plants may upside down. That is why these two plants produce modified adventitious roots. These modified adventitious roots are called the balancing roots because they balance that plant. And Pistia, it shows two modifications, root and stem modification. What type of root modification? Balancing roots. What type of stem modification? Offset. Like asparagus. Asparagus is xerophyte. Xerophyte, but it shows three modifications: fasciculated root, then a cladoid stem, and leaves, either spines or scales. But that is xerophyte. Other than asparagus, this is 𝗖𝗃𝗍. 𝗖𝗃𝗍 means hydrophyte. It is also shows three types of modifications: balancing root, then offset, and spongy petiole. So these are the two plants in which all vegetative parts are modified. One more importance: 𝗖𝗃𝗍. It is called Bengal terror because in normal conditions it reproduces by offsets and it covers most of the sea, and means it absorbs more oxygen. So because of this 𝗖𝗃𝗍, oxygen concentration decreased in water, so fishes die. That is why it is called Bengal terror. ఈరోజు మనము రూట్ మరియు స్టెమ్ గురించి తెలుసుకున్నాం. ముఖ్యంగా రూట్లో అంటే వివిధ రకాల రూపాంతరాలు అంటే రూట్ మోడిఫికేషన్స్. మనం చదివిన రూట్ మోడిఫికేషన్స్ ఏంటివి ఇప్పటి వరకు? పారాసైటిక్ రూట్స్, స్టోరేజ్ రూట్స్, నాడ్యులార్ రూట్స్, ఫోటోసింథటిక్ రూట్స్, రెస్పిరేటరీ రూట్స్, మెకానికల్ రూట్స్, అందులో రెండు రకాలు, ఒకటి ప్రాప్ రూట్స్ మరియు స్టిల్ట్ రూట్స్. ఈ విధంగా మనము వేరు రూపాంతరాల గురించి అంటే రూట్ మోడిఫికేషన్స్ గురించి నేర్చుకున్నాము. అలానే రెండవ పాఠంలో స్టెమ్ గురించి నేర్చుకున్నాం. కానీ స్టెమ్ అంటే ముఖ్యంగా మూడు రకాల రూపాంతరాలు ఉంటాయి, మోడిఫికేషన్స్. అందులో మొదటిది అండర్గ్రౌండ్ స్టెమ్స్ అని, రెండవది ఏరియల్ స్టెమ్స్ అని, మూడవది సబ్ ఏరియల్ స్టెమ్స్ అని నేర్చుకున్నాం. అలానే మనము అండర్గ్రౌండ్ స్టెమ్స్లో వివిధ రకాలు రైజోమ్, కామ్, స్టెమ్ ట్యూబర్ మరియు బల్బ్. అలానే ఏరియల్ స్టెమ్ మోడిఫికేషన్స్లో టెండ్రిల్స్, థార్న్స్, హుక్స్, క్లాడోడ్స్, ఫిలోక్లేడ్స్, బల్బిల్స్ గురించి. అలానే చివరిగా ఈ సబేరియల్ స్టెమ్ మోడిఫికేషన్స్లో రన్నర్, స్టోలన్, సక్కర్, ఆఫ్సెట్స్ గురించి ఈరోజు అంటే ఈ ఎపిసోడ్లో మనం చదువుకున్నాం.